All right, Happy New Year. Welcome back to First Gen Wealth. I'm your host, Randy Woodworth, here with Jim. Coming off a Rose Bowl victory. I got the Michigan shoes up there. That was pretty exciting. I was down there, out there for that, so I'm a little jet lagged still, bro.
Yeah, well, incredible experience. I watched the video of you, and just the excitement in your face was like,
Dude,
it was cool. It was cool.
So Josh ends up panning around, right? And I'm like full on. I had to like take a knee because I started crying.
Yeah,
Like I was overcome with emotion that much. Like, of course, when time this one airs, we'll know whether or not Michigan finished the job
right.
and got the natty. But what an experience! And the reason I kind of bring that up, number one, it's awesome, go blue. And number two, I was looking at a post a good friend of ours recently shared about the 5 different types of wealth. I don't know if you caught that.
I didn't.
And I got it pulled up here, so I'm just going to read it so I don't butcher it like we did the Roosevelt quote.
That wasn't the only quote I butchered.
I butcher every quote. I butcher every quote. So the 5 types of wealth, and whatever, somebody made this up, so take it for what it's worth. But financial wealth, which is money and possessions; social wealth, which is status and popularity; time wealth, which is freedom; physical wealth, health and vitality; and then spiritual wealth, peace of mind and self-respect. And they've got this tagline that says, "Be careful of jobs that lure you in with 1 and 2, but rob you of 3, 4, and 5." So I thought that was kind of a good kind of starting point for what this business provides you, because I think a little spiritual wealth,
Right.
and definitely obviously time, being able to go out there and do that. But that was a bit of a spiritual feeling. It's that self wellness, Now, if my team loses, it was going to be degraded, but it was fun, and this business was the reason I was able to do that. And funny enough, the guy I went out with was the husband of who shared that,
Okay.
Josh Shook,
Yeah.
client of mine, right? Him and Corey are clients. And then we met with and had dinner with another client. So I'm taking a Rose Bowl trip,
Yeah.
going and seeing my team, and there's certain portions of that trip I'm going to be able to write off because they're a business expense. I promise you, we talked about real
Sure.
estate multiple times because it's what we do and it's what we love. So it's really, really an easy topic. So of those 5, wealth, wealth
You're
brackets.
already butchering it or what?
Yeah,
Wealth,
if I don't have it in front of
spiritual,
me, those 5
the
types
health,
of wealth. Yeah.
the freedom, the time.
We focus a lot on the financial side. And what I think people miss is that financial wealth affords you time wealth, affords you, I would say, physical wealth, because you're able to find the time
Yeah.
to improve your body and things.
Well, I think of those 5 things, to me, the time is really the most important thing because,
Freedom.
again, freedom. It allows you to do things. People don't work out. The number one excuse is, I don't have time, which is bullshit.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
You make time for what's important to you always.
Yeah.
But, like, it does give you the flexibility of working out at X time versus Y time. You literally can create the time for what's important to you. And you had the time to go out to Pasadena and do something that was important to you, which is awesome. And I've got the time to work out every single day. I've taken that on recently as like a personal thing that's super important to me.
Yep.
That if I was stuck at a job from 8 to 5 or whatever the hours were, it certainly reduces my ability to allow things into my life that are important to me.
Sure.
Trips,
You
health,
take a
whatever.
You took a lot of trips this past year.
Took a lot of trips, like from September to December.
Using up your miles.
I know you talked me into it. So
Did you hit diamond status?
I didn't. I would just fell short. Platinum,
yeah. Dang it, it's hard to hit diamond.
It is, and it's even harder now.
I think guys that hit diamond are traveling for business.
Yeah.
it's hard to do that many leisure trips. It's
I tried. I tried this. We tried as much as we could the last few months. I went to some pretty cool places and saw some pretty cool things,
yeah.
but whatever.
But you said the number one excuse for people not working out is they don't have time, and to me that's just all that is it's not a priority, and people need I think they need to make health a priority. Um, I say that a little bit hypocritically because it becomes a priority to me and then doesn't, and it
Yeah.
becomes a priority to me and then
I
doesn't.
think I've asked you now
Oh,
67 times
you are
to lift
consistently.
with me, and
I get the text
I'm
from
0
Jim.
for
It
67.
says arm day question mark, leg day question mark, and I have never gone.
I think the first time you thought about it, and
Yeah,
then Molly had dinner or something, and you're like, nope, I'm not coming. I even sent you my pass.
yeah, we were
Like
close.
we were close,
We
and
were
then ever
close.
since then, we're further and further away.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a recluse when it comes to the workout. I like I got that set up in my garage attic upstairs, and it really feels like Rocky Four to me up
Yeah,
there. And I'm like, dun, 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 and I get the Pantera going,
yeah.
and
Whatever works for you, man.
yeah,
Like that's the biggest thing. Like you have to find something that you can commit to, and you
yeah,
can continue to do, and something you enjoy.
yeah,
So luckily, you've got your Rocky themed
yeah, yeah,
attic that
love it.
you've transformed yourself in the last six
I need to put
months.
a speed bag up there.
Yeah, I've just never been able to do that.
So we're going to Cabo on the 30th, and I text Molly on the plane. I said, "No carbs till Cabo."
How's that going for you?
It starts today,
Yeah, okay,
and it's
gotcha.
going great.
Yeah, nice.
It's going great so far. No carbs till Cabo. It's like a Beastie Boys song.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I saw that post, and I was just like, this is absolutely correct. And to me, the freedom side of that is what is the most important to me. And that freedom only comes. I guess you can be a hippie, and just kind of have your own thing, and I just you still got to eat, you still
yep,
got to have shelter, right? So I feel like you're still going to stress a little bit about those expenses because everybody needs a box to live in. Everybody needs to eat, um, and they want those experiences, and those experiences in life most of the time cost money. There's probably a few exceptions that get away with some things, but for me, it's freedom is everything, and the only way I've found that you can achieve that is through the financial wealth. And for me, the real estate thing is where it's at, and it's afforded me some serious opportunities. I said, we had guys out there in Pasadena that are, one's a partner, um, uh, former Owasso guy, lives in Florida now, and big Michigan fan. So we met out there. So we've got a company that's just the two of us that we can write off stuff there, and with Josh being a client, that's a Woodworth commercial client. There's some stuff that I got to talk my tax guy, but
yeah,
this business it gives you, yes, it gives you money, yes, it gives you time, but then it gives you like additional um avenues to increase what you're keeping
right.
in
Well,
that
it's
wealth
yeah.
from a
I
tax
mean, part
strategy.
of income is it's how much of it you can keep,
Yeah,
whether that's through reduced spending
Micah.
or yeah, or not paying any taxes. That's our biggest expense.
Yeah,
Whether it's property taxes, sales tax, income tax, taxes are our single biggest expense. And anytime you can figure out ways to reduce those, you're going to eat anyway. So if you're eating with a client and talking business, a portion of that
yeah, and they
is
changed that. It's
it's
less
it's
now,
less now, but it's
but it's
still
still you got to take
yeah,
advantage of it. I mean, you're taxed. So I mean, you can say you're in a certain income tax bracket, great, but then on that income that you've been taxed on, that's now in your bank account. Every time you drive somewhere, you're paying taxes and gas. Every time you eat, you're paying. Well, if you're eating out, you're paying taxes. Groceries don't get taxed, but if you're, uh, anything you buy is going to have a sales tax
yeah,
associated with it. You're paying your property taxes if you own, anything, you're going to pay property
Well,
tax. So
even if you don't own, if you're renting, you're still paying
you're
property
paying
taxes.
it
You're
de
in a way,
facto.
yeah, because
Absolutely. It's
landlords are going to pass that expense on to you
yeah,
for
and it
sure. So,
especially, we've talked with tenants downtown, whether we own it or our clients own it. There's a, it's expensive to own a building downtown,
mhm,
and property taxes on the average size building is $500 a month.
yeah,
Um, so you're paying it one way or another, and I think it's an obligation to take advantage of anything that is allowable. So I don't want to go down a tax tangent too much. We've talked about that a little bit, but I just kind of was like, I thought that was a cool post, that, basically breaking wealth, because it's like, what is wealth? You know, or the question we get asked, how much is enough?
yeah.
There's no such thing. It's I s- don't get me wrong when I say that. When I'm saying there's no such thing as enough and enough, is because, as Jim and I have explained, we have divine discontentment, and the target and the goal consistently gets pushed out. The target moves. So uh, we say that because we know we're going to continue to do deals.
Yeah.
Uh, but I thought that was pretty interesting. And I think it just comes back to, all those things are great. Other than spiritual, you probably don't need money for that. But um,
It helps. I mean, giving can be a form of spirituality. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, so the more you have, the more you can give. There is a fulfillment within that.
100%. You're
Um,
tithing. You're supposed to be doing 10% and giving every,
but even if you're not like a church guy,
right. You still want to
you
give.
still want to give, or, find things that you can connect with, organizations you can connect with. And that's, there's a spiritual component of that. But I think the time piece, we talk about how real estate gives you the flexibility of time and creates your time wealth. But that's also kind of an expectation of, it isn't happening overnight. Like, you may have to sacrifice freedom of time for years to get to the point where now you have an abundance of time. So whether that is you're an employee somewhere and you're, entering into real estate as an avenue for future financial stability, and you're putting into real estate, you're putting into it, you're working, you've got real estate on the side, and eventually you can,
Right.
move to real estate full time. Regardless of it, you can't go buy a rental property and all of a sudden you have all sorts of time. And in some cases, you
No,
take a
the
step,
opposite's
you
true.
take a
Yeah.
step back.
Well, and I think the point of the post was, like, like I said at the end there, was make sure you don't have a job that's robbing, that's, you know,
Promises
putting
you,
the,
yeah.
promises you one and two, and forgets about the rest and robs you of the rest. And I think most people in a job are probably in that position. So that's what, you know, that's our audience. That's who we're talking to. Subscribe. Um, is the that's but seriously, what are you watching? We got 70% of our viewers, not 80. It was like 80% of people that watch this don't subscribe. Do me a favor. Doesn't cost you anything, subscribe. But anyway, so they're shifting. They're like, all right, I'm never gonna have that time, right? I'm gonna be stuck in this job forever, or at least till I
Retire,
retire,
yeah, which
and it's like, why do I want to work 40 years to get 10 of enjoyment? You know what I mean? So there's a better way. Um, and so this game, this real estate game, like Jim said, it definitely will rob you of your time initially. Uh, but you can get to the point of retirement a whole lot quicker, and enjoy your life. You don't have to wait till you're in your 70s, to enjoy yourself.
right. And but I think it can rob you of your time initially, but at the same time, there is a significant difference of investing your time into somebody else's business as an employee, and then
Yes.
spending your time on your business. It's almost like a hobby, you know what I mean? Like, so
Well,
it's way different to
I
invest in yourself as opposed to working
I agree.
for somebody.
You're almost checking the spiritual box
100%.
when you're building something for yourself. So, you got to keep the job. That income, that's your vessel for investment. You just got to have the right budget. See any one of our other podcasts for further info, but um to have the ambition uh to go and do something after you clock out, after you leave that initial job. When you're building something for yourself, you get that fire.
Mm.
It's really easy. Yes, it's a time suck, but you can get your family involved. There's been many jobs where we've had the kids, I mean, are they helping? They think so,
Right. They're really kind of in the way,
They're totally in
but
the way,
it's
but we bring them anyway, you know what I mean? Like, they're not, like, depriving us of any timelines by, but we give them a little shovel or whatever, and they're scraping up floors, and, uh, I remember Max was in my now 10-year-old, he was probably 6 at the time or 7 at the time. We gave him a little notebook and a pen, and we were like, "You gotta take some notes," and then we made him design how the kitchen should be, and he took it
Yeah,
seriously,
that's
I
awesome.
mean, he bought in, and something we did with the kids, we own a LLC under Max's name and one under Claire's, and so she's got some long-term rentals, duplexes, and he's been flipping, and we get him involved. And Claire just recently finally, she's been bugging us because I planted the seed years ago. But finally over Christmas break, Molly got her involved on the accounting side and
Nice.
working through, how do we track the rent? How do you pay the bills? And, how do you operate the software and all that stuff? And I mean, she was like extremely interested, which is great. So it's a business that after hours, and especially if kids aren't in sports, mine are, so it's tough to find that time. But if your kids aren't in sports, it's a great family business.
Yeah. Or if you were happen to homeschool your kids, like what a
Oh,
better education. I mean, there isn't one out there than real life
you get all of it.
financial stuff that you could, yeah.
Math. I mean, you can. There's definitely geometry involved in some of the things. You can, square footage of flooring. Like you can figure all that. There's
Client service, you're talking like
yeah.
there you can learn so much with dealing with tenants, everything that property management, repairs, you got handyman skills.
Yep.
Yeah, you could probably take the kids out of school and just have them come to work with you every day.
There you go. Homeschool your kids now. We don't want to start that thing, but no, I think you're right though. I mean, it's definitely a valuable education, something they're not going to get in school, and it's something I think they're more likely to use for the rest of their life than gym class.
Even if they don't, yeah, well, even if they don't follow your footsteps into real estate. I mean, it's going to be hard for them not to, but even if they
Yeah,
go their own path, Claire becomes a CPA now because she's interested in this
that'd be great.
tracking. Yeah, should be. I'm thinking that's the first thing I thought of. Like, sweet, like I've got a future
I need a
cheap
CPA. I need a real
CPA.
estate attorney. We got to have maybe we got have more kids, grandkids, something. So it's New Year, right? And everybody always talks about goals now, right? It's the perfect time, which I love, and it may seem cliche, but it's I think incredibly important. If you don't do it at any other time, do it now. Reset, refocus, look at how you want to do it. And somebody asked me over dinner at the Rose Bowl what if I had any resolutions, and so I don't. I'm not making any no carbs till Cabo, but other than that, I want to build and it seems crazy, and I haven't got like it fully figured out yet, but I want to build like a 200-year plan for the family. Now, whether anyone follows it or not, I'll never know.
Right?
But I think I want, and I think it's going to be a lot more difficult the next 200 years than the previous 200 years as far as what
Yeah.
changes
Who
and
knows,
what
man?
this country looks like and where
The
that
technology of
AI. Well, we might be all slaves of the robots by
yeah,
then. Who knows? But I think it'd be a good exercise for me to kind of think that long term. And there's countries that do that and countries that don't, and we're one that don't. We are one that doesn't think long term family status. You go over to Japan, they do 100-year mortgages in Japan, and like
hmm,
it's because mom and dad live. They like there's 3 generations in one house because they're on an island.
yeah,
There's only so much room, and it's expensive. So they do 100-year mortgages over there that get passed down to the kids. So they have to build in those long-term,
right.
those long-term family plans. The oldest businesses in the world are out of Japan. They're
That's
very
what I mean. Even to think about that, like that's incredible to have that like vision, because you're right, we don't do it. But
Not
I've
at
played
all.
with these financial calculators like, okay, if you have this much money, like at this rate of return, how many years does it take to get 5 million, 10
You're
million,
only looking at your
100
lifetime.
million? Right.
Just
But I'm
gotta
thinking
yeah.
about like, it's like, what if I live to 100? And what if this happened? Like, it's crazy. Like, once you get into that 60th and 70th year of
Oh,
compounding interest, like
massive.
it is massive growth. And once you hit 10 million, how much quicker you get to 100 million, then how
Plug in
much you get to a
200 years and see what
billion.
that looks like.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So, I mean, part of me says, how awesome is that? And, to create that plan, and here's my plan for money. But at the same time, like, I also want to make an impact when I'm living,
100%.
because, it's like you said, you have no idea what this world's going to look like in 200 years.
So
And
for me, I do want to make an impact, but I think my impact I'm okay with being happening after I'm gone a little bit. I mean, we're making an impact. Don't
yeah,
get me wrong. We're doing way more than we probably should. We do a lot. And I'm saying we, me and you, downtown and other places. But like you said, with that compounding interest, the impact I can make in my lifetime is compounded tenfold when I apply it to children and grandchildren and great grandchildren, people I will never meet. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
right.
Like that that is to me what when I say first our name of our podcast, First Gen Wealth, when I'm thinking like that, it's because it's the first generation that builds the wealth to last all the generations. And you don't see that anymore, really. There's the old magnets of industry, the Rockefellers, the JP Morgans and all these. And it's a lot different now because things change so fast. But I think real estate is always going to be here,
Well,
right?
in one way or another.
Whether it's a piece of toxic ground or not, I don't
Right.
know. But I think one way or another, it's throughout history. Um, you're either a landlord or not.
Hmm.
And to me, you want to have that at least a part of your income through real estate because it's just going to provide you with so much opportunity. We're at what? 23 minutes? We're at Jordan time.
Hmm.
Micah, who's the GOAT, Jordan or LeBron? Just kidding. We know it's Jordan. No debate,
No
Micah
debate.
says.
Do all your brothers think it's Jordan, or there's some LeBron guys? Isaiah thinks LeBron's the GOAT. Isaiah would think that, because the reason I don't like Jordan is because of the whole Isaiah Thomas like banning him of the dream team. Like, it still
Okay.
bothers me today.
Yeah.
I think Jordan. I say Jordan is the GOAT only because I just don't like this era of basketball.
Yeah.
Like, I was just watching like this late '80s highlight reel of guys just murdering people on the court.
Oh,
They go for a layup or a dunk and they are getting murdered. And
yeah.
that was like what I grew up on. And that's kind of like how I translated my game. I remember people driving to the basket, and I'm in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to kill this guy.
Yeah. Rick Mahorn.
I'm
Bill
going to kill this
Laimbeer.
guy. Like,
Yeah.
if you're going to drive on me, like, you are going to pay the price.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I fouled out more than anyone in the history of Madonna basketball. But like, that's just kind of how that
Yeah.
was like my role.
Yeah.
And I embraced it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
So
LeBron don't have to deal with any of that.
he does not have to deal with anything. That's why he can play till he's 45 and
Right.
still be
Right.
phenomenal. But
Right. Interesting.
nonetheless.
Anyway. Yeah, we're good down that side topic, but Jordan's the GOAT. We'll leave it at that. Yeah. So at the end of the day, I think of the five, the freedom, the time affords you everything else, and the only way you get that, in my opinion, is the financial wealth. And for me, that's been real estate, and it's been a blessing. And I know we'll continue to grow this thing.
Well, hey, so
But
speaking of making an impact downtown and some things, can you give an update on Fifth Third? What's happening with that? And then so Fifth Third is like
I
the
mean,
largest.
you're setting me up because you know more than I do, bro.
I do. You think so?
Yeah, I mean, we just got the
Yeah.
grant.
Yeah. So I guess I'll just give it.
I mean, dude,
I get asked about it all the time. Like, anywhere I go, I don't know about you, but it's like the thing that needs to get done.
Oh, it definitely needs to get done. It's ugly as
So,
sin.
we recently approved for like I don't know, $1.8 million through the state of Michigan through a grant through the MEDC.
1.48.
1.48. Well, nonetheless, it's like in total, it's like a $4 million project. It's a lot of money that we're either going to have to finance or come up with somehow, some way.
Combination of both. We also
Combination of
have,
both.
incremental tax or tax increment financing.
Yeah.
We've got a historic preservation credit.
We could go on and on
Yeah.
about all the different incentives, but the last thing we're waiting on is our federal historic tax credits. So once that's done, we anticipate starting construction, hopefully by like May of this year, right?
July.
I mean, I'm hopeful, but I think at the same time, like once we know it's all happening and coming together, we can then make the decision to start some of the stuff, whether it's,
Risky.
it's, yeah, but that's what we do. We take risks, like knowing that it's all going to come together.
Well, that
we
one's
need,
got,
we,
yeah,
need, we need
listen,
to start. Yeah.
that one's got to start.
It's
so
got to
the
start.
exterior has got, I mean, people are, throwing eggs at our houses because that's,
Yeah. But that's part like that. They also just don't understand like what it takes.
yeah, I know.
And I certainly welcome competition in that regard. There's plenty of buildings that could use a facelift downtown Owasso. So buy it.
You
And do
think you
something
can
with
do it better?
So by
Have
all
at
means,
it.
have at it. Even right now, with all the progress we've made through the MEDC and these grants and all the funding that we're trying to piece together, I'll sell it right now. If you've got a better
fully
plan,
entitled.
yeah, you take it all and do it. Because if you think it's so easy, or if you think that we're just sitting on it because somehow it makes more sense financially to do that, you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
So please take it off our hands. I'd be more than willing to sell it right now and get rid of the headache. But I also want to see it through because I think it's going to be an awesome.
Oh, it'll
thing.
happen. But I think you are a little bit rose-colored, little optimistic on the timeline there.
On May.
Oh yeah.
I guarantee you we have some work being done before May.
Dude, you can't.
I guarantee some work. Some work
Whether people
will be done, whether they notice it.
Jim's
or
going
not.
to be upstairs with a broom, just cleaning. Told you.
Yep, guarantee it. There will be some work happening before May.
Well, we got about 4,000 file cabinets that got to be removed, so maybe we can start getting.
Yeah, get a scrapper in there. Hey, if you are a scrapper, reach out to us. We might have a thing for you.
You got. There's a bunch of metal crap up there that can get taken out. I mean, you got to take it down the stairs, so have at it. But.
Yeah.
All right. So what? Let's figure out a takeaway here real quick because we were all over the place.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking too. Isaiah Thomas is the only guy who has a winning record against Michael Jordan in the playoffs and the regular season. So
he's the GOAT.
I mean, he was the GOAT killer for sure.
He is a GOAT killer.
So takeaway, I think it really is just of those 5 components of wealth, and I don't remember them all: spirituality, time, freedom. That's the same thing. Financial, health. There's one more.
Physical.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Vitality.
Go on.
But all of those things, like you got to like figure out what's really important to you. I think more than anything right now, I've taken a focus on my health just because as I've gotten older, I'm like seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
You're trying
to
steal time.
I'm trying to steal time back. You're
That's
right. You're right. Like I don't like I know that my health is super important. So time has allowed me to make that a focus.
Yeah.
Financial independence, financial freedom has allowed me to get the time to do it. So you really got to focus on all that.
It is important because in order to be the best version you can be, financially, I think your mind needs to be sharp. And there's no better way to make your mind sharp than to make your body sharp. Because when you're in your peak condition physically, and that's different for everybody. Obviously, I'm not talking about you're going to go out and take snaps. I'm just saying you're your best version of yourself, and whether you are or not at this point in your life. If you can be better, and I think you should. I think because it does buy time, it does steal a little bit of time. You need the health. Your health is important, and it makes your mind sharp, so you can make those financial decisions. And then live a little bit longer, hopefully, Lord willing, to enjoy it.
Yep.
Or at least live a quality of life, right?
Well,
So you might live long, but be unhealthy, and then what the hell? You can't fly because you can't take your oxygen tank with you.
Well, now I think Southwest is offering extra seats to obese people.
Oh, Jesus.
So that's a thing now. But anyway.
All right. Well, Well, on that note, we'll 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 wrap up. We got one episode left of this season. So
Man, season 2 coming to an end.
This is episode 23. We got 24 coming up, and that'll put a little wrap on it. So everyone, Happy New Year. Hopefully, go Blue, national champions by the time you're listening to that. Otherwise, it was the refs.
Yes.
This has been First Gen Wealth. I'm your host, Randy Woodworth. Tune in next time. We don't know what the topic's going to be, but
go green.
It's going to be awesome. Why would you end on that?
Because you've been talking about Michigan the whole time.
All
Go
right.
white.
See ya.